When then did escorting get presented to you? Was that somebody while you were in the club gave the idea, or and what were the next steps that even led you to that if you were, seemingly making good money and doing well where you were at?
Yeah, I think it started, no one really, like, propositioned me, like, solicited me in the club, but I knew that girls were doing more to make more money in the VIP rooms, but I was kinda scared to do that because I didn't wanna encounter law enforcement knowing that I
Mm,
wanted to maybe be a lawyer one day, and I was always, like, fearful of going to jail or, you know, committing a crime, but,
yeah.
I started looking online actually, and I don't even know what put that idea in my head. I think I was just looking for more jobs and maybe even starting with promotional modeling jobs where you can go and kind of be like a party girl and set the
Mhm.
atmosphere and just go party with groups of people and men. And so I started looking up those jobs on Craigslist, and that opened up a world for me when I saw like the gig section and the event section, the talent section,
Mm.
and remember seeing an ad and it said something like, "Hot girls wanted, make $1,000 a night. We want college girls, 18 to 25." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm 23. What do you have
Yes.
to do to make that kind of money? I'm already here exploiting myself. Like, what else, can I do?"
Yeah.
And I remember calling one of those ads, and it was an escort agency, and it called themselves like a companion agency, and they have it under
Mm.
the guise like you're just gonna be, um, you're gonna be like a girlfriend for a professional man for the night, and whatever he wants, if he wants to take you out or something, you're just gonna get hired to be his companion. And I'm thinking, well, that sounds easy enough.
Mhm.
And so I call the agent, and he says, "Meet me at a local bar by the college." So I meet him. He meets me in the back because he's like, "We need to talk privately." And I'm thinking, why? Why is this so secretive? But then when he talks to me, I'm thinking, oh, okay, you're not just a companion. Like you do more with these men, but
Yeah.
he's very hush hush about it. But it's
Okay.
kind of just you just kind of know.
Yeah.
That's how you're gonna make the most money is if you go on a date and exploit your body, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's how
It's
you're gonna make.
interesting that you say that because it was kind of the same with the Seeking Arrangements app
Yeah,
that I found in college, where it's sold as just a dating app, but like everybody who gets it knows what it is. You just kind of know, like you said. And so, these guys might ask you on a date or something like this, but the direction of that is eventually giving your body to them. And
mhm,
that's where you're really going to make money. I remember I had girlfriends that like started doing it before I did because I was afraid. And so I was watching how it went for them. And they would meet at like Chick-fil-A or something for the first meet. And then the guy would give them $100, and then he'd say, "Okay, now we're gonna have another kind of date." So then they would meet him again, and it would be like expecting more each
yeah,
time and
yes,
paying more each time.
yeah.
So is it kind of the same with this, except for now you called it? Now you have a white collar pimp.
Yeah, that's what I would call my agent is he's not this, like, gorilla pimp, gangster pimp that you see on the streets.
Yeah.
He's this, like, guy that looks, put together, has that, nice career on the outside, but meanwhile, he's making money off of exploiting you, and
Yeah.
so we made an arrangement where, he would tell me, "You make 300 for the hour." Out here, it's more, it's like 500 an hour. But he would take like 100 and I would only keep 200 or something.
Oh my
And
gosh.
all he has to do is basically he's the one that connects me to the client. And so the client would call in to the agency and he would have like pictures of the girls on online, and the client would say, "Oh, I want that one." Or sometimes it was bait and switch, or it'd just be a girl, and then they would just the agent would connect him with any one of us, and even if it's not that one, the client's already
Okay.
there, so usually they don't turn you down. But
Yeah.
and then he would have the client call me. I'd have a Google number set up, so it wasn't my real number, and I would answer the phone and use a fake name and be like, "Just, oh, I'm so excited to meet you." And then he would tell
Mhm.
me his address, and I would actually drive there to the place. So I felt like at first I thought this agent was gonna protect me, but when I realized I'm the one driving to a stranger's home where
Yeah.
I don't even know these men. All I know is that maybe this agency had worked with them before, and that's all I know
Okay.
really. And so I'm meeting these guys. One I met at his home, another one I met at like a hotel, another one I met at a home in places like Tahoe because it was up in Reno. So
Yeah.
Tahoe, Reno, and sometimes they were really nice places, really nice hotels. But again, I don't know the guy at all, and I
Yeah.
would meet them, and I would just be with them for the hour, and usually would end up with giving my body away.
Yeah. They wanna make the most of the hour.
Yeah, and that's what I would tell myself. I'm like, "All you have to do is get through this hour, because
Mhm.
it would start to really weigh on me and weigh on my spirit.
Yeah.
Most of the time when I was doing this in Reno, I was high. I'd be,
Yeah.
like, getting high on the way there because I had to disassociate from what I was doing. It was too
Of
hard
course.
for me and, trauma invoking, but I don't know, it was just, like I don't know, it just I was kinda mad at myself because why am I allowing myself to be in these situations? But at the
Yeah.
same time, I was so addicted to the money. I was
Yep.
addicted to the chaos, and I was addicted to the drugs, and so it was very easy
Mhm.
for me to get sucked in.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that, and something I haven't talked to anybody about on the show yet because it just hasn't come up, like, I can relate to you in these things, is I remember, there were numerous guys that I went on these dates with, and some of them I remember one of them was, like, a younger, nerdier kinda guy who just he really struggled getting girls, and he was very
Yeah.
sweet. Um, but he wanted more of like a girlfriend. He wanted somebody who would come around his family and someone to take to the mall to buy Uggs in person. He didn't just want to give me quick money, like use me and buy. And for some reason, like, for me, at that time, I wanted to get this over with as quick as possible. I don't wanna carry on a fake relationship and, like, this be draining me throughout my week. I don't wanna meet anybody's family. So that's, I think, why I was doing the deeper, darker things for the quicker cash of, like, "Let's just get this done in an hour. I never wanna see you again."
Yeah.
Um, and
Same.
and it was over, but the thing was is it was never really over. Like, those things were staining my soul deeply, and I was doing the same thing of abusing drugs and alcohol just to cope
Wow.
with it.
Yeah, like we think it's just a one and done thing. We're just gonna have this brief transaction, but you're making soul ties with these men,
Yeah.
and like you're giving away something that was meant only for your husband in marriage.
Yes.
And God did that to protect us because He knows that, it hurts when you give that part of yourself to someone who's not meant to be your husband forever,
Yeah, yeah.
and even the demonic activity that happens during those interactions. I had
Oh
no
my gosh.
idea. And I can't even tell you, after I got involved in this, I feel like I had like all these demons in my life. I would get thoughts out of nowhere that I'd never even thought of before. Became suicidal, like
Mm,
more addicted to drugs, spirit of perversion. Like I would get all these thoughts, these gross thoughts that I had never had before. And I
yep.
believe it was because I was interacting with clients that had a bunch of demons, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah, when you're sleeping with somebody, you're literally combining your spirits 100%. Was there, like, one did you ever have, like, one, like, ultimate, like, this was the most horrifying experience, or was it just kinda all it was just kinda all that?
I think it was just kinda all. I mean, there were some, well, I don't know, it's hard for me to even think about and process, but there was some that were just so deep in, like, perversion and addiction, and they were, like, degrading, like, very degrading, like, they'd be watching, pornography while we're,
Mm,
like, together on a date, and it was just, like, horrible, like, to watch, like, the kind that they were watching, and
yeah,
then, to have me there and just to see them, like, so just lost, and I think it was moments like that after that I just felt so disgusted. I felt
yeah,
like a piece of trash, and I would start to think,
Yes.
like, I'm more valuable than this. Or even when, because I did this again in California, but my agent at the time was a little more controlling, and he would have me just go over the whole session with him in the car after, like, debrief. And if I said anything wrong or something happened wrong, he would just flat out yell at me, and, like, you know, he was very just kind of narcissistic.
Wow.
And he'd be like, "You can't wear that. You know, why are your legs all cut up, like from shaving or something?" And he would just like he'd be like, "You, that's your property. Like, you can't be wearing that. You can't be doing this. Why did you do
Oh,
this with the
wow.
client? You didn't tell me." And then meanwhile, he'd be exploiting me and
Yeah.
using me as well. And so it was moments like that after those interactions, I would just think, I kind of come to the a breaking point. Like, why am I allowing people to treat me like this?
Mhm.
Why am I doing this? You know, it was kind of just be like, maybe it was the Holy Spirit too, just reminding me I'm more valuable than this.